Hello world, Shelly here, and it's day 3 of Foundation Fest where I do 5 days in a row of foundation reviews. Today I'm going to check out one that you guys have been asking for and raving about for ages. It is from Face Atelier. It's the Ultra Foundation. I picked up 6 different sample shades. They sell these samples for $1 a piece. There's enough product in here to get a few uses out of it and see if you enjoy it. Face Atelier is a cruelty-free brand, and they are sort of geared toward makeup artists. And this Ultra Foundation comes in 14 different shades, but the magic of this is that there are 5 adjuster shades that you can lighten or darken or change the undertone of the foundation to get your absolutely perfect blend and match. I just ordered 6 of the base shades. I did not order any of the adjusters, but there's a white adjuster, there are several undertone adjusters, and then there are adjusters for the depth of the color. And the base shades go from very fair to very deep, so you really can make a foundation match for any skin tone. Now on their website they've got the Ultra Foundation and the Ultra Foundation Pro. The only difference between the two, the formula is the same, it's the packaging. The Ultra Foundation is in a 1-ounce glass bottle, whereas the Ultra Foundation Pro comes in smaller plastic unbreakable bottles, more designed to carry around in a makeup kit if you were a professional or traveling artist. So the Ultra Foundation Pro bottles are 0.68 ounces for $36, and the regular glass bottle is 1 fluid ounce for $52. They also sell sets of the different shades and the different adjusters, or everything possible, the full set of everything, including all the adjusters in the Pro size bottles, is $549. So I won't be buying that because I'm just gonna paint my own face. Some facts about the foundation: it is vegan, cruelty-free, oil and fragrance-free, non-comedogenic, and the foundation is described as being highly pigmented, long-lasting, and innovative foundation that provides buildable coverage with a natural satin finish. Silicone-based Ultra Foundation is sheer enough for younger women, yet can meet the needs of anyone that requires more coverage. It's an outstanding performer on mature, troubled, or sensitive skin, and due to its unique blend of silicones in the formulation, Ultra Foundation forms a delicate, lightweight, and flexible second skin with a natural breathing ability. No primer needed. It is built into the Ultra Foundation thanks to the super sophisticated silicone-based formula. Another bonus, it sets without powder, preserving the youthful dewy finish, has soft focus properties that diminish the looks of fine lines and wrinkles. This sounds like it's perfect for everybody, which sounds amazing to me. Let's take a look. First, I want to swatch the 6 shades I got against each other, then we'll look at compared against some other foundations in my collection. Let's start out by looking at the Face Atelier samples that I got. My first swatch is shade 0.5 Pearl, described for very fair complexions with no pink in the undertone. The second swatch is shade number 1 Porcelain for warm light complexions and a yellow undertone. Third swatch is shade number 2 Ivory for neutral light complexions with a gold undertone. Next up is shade number 3 Wheat for cool light complexions with a yellow undertone. Followed by shade number 4 Sand. This is for warm medium complexions with a yellow undertone. And the last one is shade 5 Sepia for cool medium complexions with a yellow undertone. Here is the Face Atelier compared to some other foundations. I've got the Face Atelier shade 1 Porcelain as the first swatch. Then I've got the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place in 1C0 Shell. Third up is the Kat Von D Lock-It Foundation in shade Light 44 Cool. Fourth is the MAC Studio Fix Fluid in shade NW10. And last I've got the Cover FX Natural Finish in shade P20. Now I know the Face Atelier is described as being for warm light complexions. I would say it is still pretty fair as opposed to light, and I would say it matches up pretty well against these, which are pretty pink or cool undertones. It's neutral leaning cool, I would say, if you consider cool to be defined as having a pink undertone. I'm starting out with a 44-year-old face. I've got some sun damage that I like to cover up. I do have deeper smile lines and forehead lines, and when my skin gets dehydrated, my crow's feet start to come out. I battle with enlarged pores right on my cheeks and some texture in between my eyebrows. My skin is normal to dry. I am starting to get wintry, dehydrated-y. I know that's not a word, but pretty normal right now, but leaning very easily toward dry. I don't have any obvious flakes or dry skin patches going on right now, but I'm getting dehydrated very easily. I think I am going to start out with shade number 1, the second shade in the samples that I got. They recommend using a brush and stippling. I have a sponge here just in case. This is the from AOA Studios, the Paw Paw donation sponges that they've got on Shop Miss A. These are $1.55 and they're awesome. I've got my Wayne Goss foundation brush here because all my e.l.f. brushes are dirty, so we are going from the drugstore to the penthouse on the brushes here. But I think I'm going to start with shade 1. Now, since they say that primer's built into this, I primed with my Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base, which is more of a moisturizer than a primer. It can serve as a primer, but to me it really works as a moisturizer. So that is what I used as my base. I have already cleansed, moisturized, and sunscreened as well. So let's dip into our little sample and see how this goes. Now, I don't want to pour this out onto a palette to give you guys a consistency check. It's a liquidy foundation. It's a very liquidy formula, but I want to make sure I have enough of my sample to get my face done. So I don't want to risk losing any of this. Oh, what the heck, let's just do it. Whew. It's hard to get it out of these little tubs. I'm going to start with the brush since that's how they recommend it. They say a little goes a long way, so let's see what they mean. Pretty light coverage right off the bat. I'm getting some coverage of redness, which is nice, but I can still see all of my sunspots poking through. Very easy to blend out, however, and very pretty finish on the skin. I really like how this is looking right out of the gate. Let's try, I'm going to stick with the brush and let's do the other side. I'd say light coverage on one pass. Very natural looking, looks like skin. My nose, which as you know has not been cooperating lately, looks a little bit like little patchy on my nose, but I think that's my nose's fault, not the makeup's fault. This is looking very nice everywhere. It is definitely smoothing. It is not accentuating pores. It looks very skin-like, giving a nice sort of dewy but not sweaty looking luminance to it. I'm very, very happy with this, how this looks right out of the gate. I would like a little bit more coverage. So let's go in one more time and see if we can build this up. This built up very easily, very nicely. I think the finish is very, very pretty. The only place I'm seeing it look a little heavy is on the texture between my eyebrows. I feel like in that area it is just sort of looks a little bit like makeup on top of the skin, but everywhere else it's giving a generally nice blur to everything. Nice blur to pores, nice blur to texture. Some of my cheek pores I can still see, but they're definitely not accentuated. I feel like my smile lines look fairly minimized. Nothing is, you know, looking too makeup-y. Everything looks pretty much like skin. I would say with 2 layers, we're at a light medium coverage. I can still see bits of my sunspots poking through, but redness is very nicely camouflaged, and overall I think this is a very pretty finish. What is with all the pretty finishes lately? I'm enjoying all the pretty finishes lately. So that is where we are starting out. I'm going to go put the rest of my face on. Let's check the time. It is 12:34. I'm going to go put on the rest of my makeup. I'll be right back. So let's talk about this foundation. I did not set it with powder, and as they claimed, everything set down just fine. I was able to blend products right over it with no trouble. I used my Charlotte Tilbury Magic Way concealer, and it wasn't quite the like angel singing from the skies experience that I had when blending with the La Mer, but it was doggone close. Everything blended in so seamlessly, so nicely, so easily, and I had no trouble blending powder on top of this. I had no trouble at all. And the only thing that has happened since we last spoke, I had a teeny tiny bit of settling into my smile lines, and so I tapped that out with a sponge, and it has not come back. I've had no trouble with my forehead lines, so far so good. Everything seems to be staying in place. I think the finish is beautiful. It's luminous without being, you know, sweaty looking, as we've recently seen a couple of those. But yes, I really like this finish. I think it's pretty. I think it's nicely smoothing on the skin. With no primer, even the rougher side of my face looks really smooth. So I am thumbs up happy with this right now. On the rest of my face, my bronzer is the Balm Desert. My blush is the Laura Geller in Tropic Hues. My highlight is the, of course, Natasha Denona Super Glow, because it is my favorite highlight of life right now. My eyes are what I believe is now my favorite eyeshadow palette of life, the Kevyn Aucoin Nude Pop. I really wish I bought a backup at 20% off, because this is limited edition and it's going to be my everyday palette. I'm in love. Mascara is the Charlotte Tilbury Legendary Lashes. My lips are the Kat Von D Ophelia in the Studded Kiss, and then I put a little bit of Vampira over it, just not even a little bit, like just a tiny bit to kind of cool down the Ophelia. It was a little bit warm tone. I wanted a little bit of purpley cool tone in there, so that happened. And yeah, that is where we are starting out. I'll be back in a few hours with a daylight check-in, then I will come back at the end of the night, give you guys my final thoughts. Hey guys, 5 o'clock p.m. here. The sun is going down, and therefore the light from the sun is pretty warm, so it is making my skin look warmer than this looks in daylight, so keep that in mind. It has not oxidized. It is just that I've got sunset light on me right now. But it's been about 4.5 hours, and about an hour ago I thought to myself that holy cow, it's breaking up. My chin, if I can get close enough that you guys can see, I actually had to powder it because it had broken down so much and started breaking apart so much that there was almost nothing left on my chin. It just looked horrific, and I still had to go out and do my life. So if we look at, it's getting kind of cakey around here, around my nose. You know, the luminosity is still there, but it's starting to look kind of heavy, and my skin's feeling kind of tight. I'm already starting to get sort of the drag lines of dehydration going on, so I'm a little bit concerned because we are really early in the process at this point. So now I will say that I always wear primer on my skin under foundations because I do have issues with longevity. Foundation doesn't last very long on my skin without primer. So I know this one said it had primer built into it, but I never skip primer because of this problem. And so maybe this would work better with primer, but yeah, so I do think the shade might be, you know, a teeny tiny bit too dark for me in the winter. I could go to that lighter shade, you know, that's how pale my hand is. And I've got some redness on my neck too, but usually I've got a little bit of color on my neck that makes this even out. So I'd say the shade's okay for me. It is not too bad, but like I said, there's a little bit of warmth in the sunlight. So even if I step out here, watch how warm it gets. See how warm this light is? Yeah, that is sunset light going on right now. So there is your color and your check-in. I'm concerned. That's where we're at right now. I will see you guys in a few hours with my final thoughts. 8:40 p.m. We are going to put this one out of its misery. I should not have allowed them to tell me not to use primer. I know my face, and this one is just getting worse and worse and worse, and I honestly feel that it could be a primer issue. The fact that I'm not wearing primer, my skin, whatever my body chemistry does to foundation, very few foundations wear more than a few hours on me if I don't have primer. And then they break down, and that's why I wear primer every single day. So I would not be surprised if this is a much better product than it is performing today because I did not wear primer. Because they said I did not have to wear primer because they said it was built in. Not so on my skin. Also, let me apologize in advance. This thing is just getting worse and worse. And you know what I have to thank for it? Pretty sure that it's the Creme Shop primer. I'm not going to be using this anymore. I've been trying it out for the last week or so. And I'm pretty sure that that's where that came from. So, bye-bye Creme Shop primer. You are not my friend. Let's take a look at this foundation. It is separating along every movement line, and the thing that's kind of happening, besides the settling into deeper lines, it's doing this very odd separation where it almost like has a powder finish to it, and the powder finish is pulling away from my face. So the powder finish is almost sitting on top of the skin like a strange coating of makeup. Like my nose just looks like it has a ton of powdery cakey foundation on it. My cheeks now look like they have this cakey glaze across them. It just looks really bad. But then, you know, in between my eyebrows is the typical breaking along movement lines. It's just separating. My forehead just kind of looks like there's no product on it. You know, it just looks like it's gone except for what kicked up around my hairline. And I feel like this is slightly drying. I'm getting drag lines. I feel tight and itchy, and that's not so great for dry skin. Now, I don't think primer would help the dryness factor of this one, but I am fairly certain that this performs better than what you're seeing right now, because for this to be such a favorite of so many people, including so many celebrity makeup artists, there's just no other explanation. On my skin, I need to wear primer. So I cannot give it credit for that performance in this particular review because that's not the performance that I am seeing. However, whenever a foundation performs poorly on me, see or worse, I will wear it for at least 3 more times and try different combinations of things. And then if I find anything significant enough to report back to you guys, I do mention it in a future video. I have a series that just started a few months ago called Foundation Follow-Up, and every couple months I just recap any foundations that I have news about. So I'm going to continue to work with this one, and I will update you again in a future foundation follow-up because I have a feeling I will have different results mixing this with different primers, etc., wearing it differently. How did I feel throughout the day? I thought it started out looking beautiful. I really liked the finish. I really liked how it looked. I thought it was a nice natural skin-like finish. If that could stay for more than 4 or 5 hours, I would be all about this foundation. But it is slightly drying. It settled slightly into smile lines, settled slightly into deeper wrinkles. So when we look at the grading for mature skin and for dry skin, those are 2 things that I don't think are primer issues. The wear time is a big issue. I think I might be able to improve that, but for dry skin and mature skin, I can't put this in the A category because it feels like it's drying and it does settle a little bit into lines. Not terribly bad, but not great. So I'm going to give this the benefit of the doubt because it was so pretty when I first put it on. If I had to give a grade right now to the Face Atelier Ultra Foundation, I'm going to go B-. I'm being a little bit generous. This had a pretty terrible wear time on me, but I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt in that it would have worn longer if I had primer on. It was beautiful for the first half of the day that I wore it, for the first 4 hours or so, but for dry skin and mature skin, might be questionable. You might want to try a sample first. Luckily, the samples are $1. You just pay for shipping, and you can pick a few shades and find your match. And I really like the approach to shade matching. I really think this could be a beautiful formula. I'm going to keep on working with it. I love that it's cruelty-free. It's a Canadian brand. Did I mention that before? It's made in Canada. Go Canadians! But I've always thought that I was supposed to be Canadian because I love hockey so much. but I hate cold weather, so maybe not. But Canada's on my bucket list. I want to do that. Do any of you know anything, especially my friends up north? Do you know anything about that train? I forget the name of it. The Mountaineer? I could be wrong. It's like a glass train that goes cross country in Canada, and it's like a couple weeks or something, and it just looks amazing, and it's really expensive, and so I probably won't do it anytime soon. It's on my bucket list though. And Vancouver, I want to go to Vancouver. I want to see hockey up there. I want to go see some hockey in Vancouver, and then maybe go up to Calgary, see some hockey. I still want to go to the Hockey Hall of Fame. I am like way off on a tangent. My apologies. Back to the foundation. I'm going to keep on playing with this because it's beautiful and I think I can get it to work better. I am confident in that. I will let you guys know in a future foundation follow-up how my experiments went and if I was able to get this to be any better. And if I get significantly better, I will update it in the down bar below. If I don't really get any better or if my update really doesn't change the grade, then I'll just leave it the way it is. And that's how we play this game here at Geek Out of Water. So, as always, thank you for taking some time out of your day to geek out over makeup with me. Come back every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Let me know in the comments if you have foundations you would like me to check out. This one was a recommendation from you guys, and I'm going to make it work, doggone it. Give me a thumbs up down below if you like foundation videos and you want to see more of them. And please subscribe if you haven't already. It helps my channel grow. Click the notification bell if you want to be notified every time I post a new video. And I appreciate your time. I hope you guys all have an awesome day or night wherever you are in the world. Take care of each other. Bye-bye.